Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Feet don't fail me now. Watch me go. I'm dancing for the women. It's the end of Women's History Month. How dare I not shout out the historic women? Rosa Parks. You go ahead and sit on that seat, girl. Go ahead. Malala Yousafzai took a bullet to the head on the bus. Dolly Parton, writer, singer, actor, entertainer, all around everything. Aretha Franklin, same as Dolly Parton. Sarah McBride, Susie Wiles, first female White House chief of staff. Oh, I'm all inclusive here. Marie Curie, invented X-ray vision or something. Won the Nobel Peace Prize not once but twice. Abitaha Muhammad, the first Muslim woman to wear a hijab and win a bronze medal for the U.S. at the 2016 Olympics. Come on now. What about Mother Teresa? What about Mother Teresa? It's bad luck to leave Mother Teresa off a list of historic women, so I got to include her. What about Harriet Tubman? What about Harriet Tubman? Wait a second now. Let me make sure I understand what you're saying here. Harriet Tubman made 19 trips between 1850 and 1860 from the South to the North to free slaves. Underground Railroad, 300 slaves. Going to get people she didn't know. I won't go from the couch to the front door if I don't know who's there. Welcome to the Comparison Guy podcast. Shout out to all the women in your life. Come on, guys. Come on, we got to give it up for the women right now, particularly right now, because, they're all crazy. They're all losing their minds, particularly the women right now. Just like with this Signal app security breach. Do you want me to talk about that? Only for a second. Because I'm not up on the latest news, so I don't know what's already out there. If I don't have something to add, generally I won't even talk about this sort of thing because I'm no expert on these things. But I think what happened, if this is out there, if anyone's already heard this, I apologize for going over stuff that's already out there. I think what happened is whoever the guy was, I can't remember his name, who put together this group, this chat group for this operation, this military operation through Signal, added mistakenly someone from the media, obviously, because it's like putting together a Zoom meeting. You add people, but if it's like your family, people might be using nicknames. It might not be their real name there. It might be initials. They think that's what it was. They think it was this guy had similar initials. And so in other words, it's like you put together a Zoom meeting and you invite Big Balls 69 to the Zoom meeting. Instead of Big Balls 69 with a Z, you invited Big Balls 69 with an S. You get me? Very similar, but two completely different people. And so inadvertently, someone from the media, probably the worst person from the media possibly they could have invited under the circumstances, they accidentally invited into this classified chat. And anyone saying, oh, it wasn't classified information. No, it was classified information. The guy in the media, when he put out what the chat was, he didn't put out the classified information. But they did share classified information in the chat with him in there. He just didn't release it. So no, there absolutely was classified information discussed in this chat. But here's the bottom line. I'm going to end this. Why were they using the Signal app? Why were they using a commercial app? Everybody wants to say stupidity or incompetence. Sometimes we can't just go there. We can't just go with the stupidity or incompetence. Why were they using a commercial app rather than government classified, whatever available secret means to communicate something that obviously should have been communicated through government channels, through government means? Why? Well, the answer is very simple. Because with the government communication, there's a record. There's, in other words, evidence of what you're saying. And so that's what I think people really need to be focusing on with this. It would appear to me they prefer to use this particular app because if they wanted to delete the information or they wanted particular information not to get out there in the future, and not on this particular operation because there was nothing really there to hide, but in future communications or conversations, it seemed they chose, hey, let's use this app rather than the government communicating sources because we don't need no whistleblower situation, you understand? And keep in mind that, yes, you will hear people say, oh, this one was using Signal, that one was using Signal. Yes, this is what they use. It's an encrypted app that allows people to communicate back and forth without worrying about it getting out into the public. And so the media uses this app to communicate with people in the government. Whenever we hear anonymous sources, an anonymous source says, a high-ranking anonymous source, generally they probably are getting this information through this Signal app. All right? So that's it. Those are the things to keep in mind. It's not uncommon for them to use this, but it's very uncommon to be using it for a military operation, and I would be asking the question, why in the heck were you guys using this thing? You know better. You know better. You're not that incompetent, I don't think. Not that incompetent. Why were you using it? It's just more craziness. It's just more craziness to pile on top of the crazy, on top of the crazy, on top of the crazy. Now, let me just stop here for a minute just to say thank you so much to any new subscribers, any new followers, anyone who listened to the last episode. The last episode with my dad was very popular, very popular. That will make him very happy. Thank you so much for that. Please continue. Please do not let anything that I say here today chase you away. That's generally what happens. People listen to one episode, they go, hey, I like this guy. They listen to the next episode, they go, I don't like this guy. Yeah, that's kind of the way the show goes. That's what a balanced show is. Sometimes you'll agree, sometimes you'll disagree. So please, I'm begging you, do not let this episode chase you away. If you don't like this one, you might like the next one that I do after this one. All right? But this is just more craziness that just keeps getting piled on, and it's really getting harder and harder for me to take. But what's hard is the whiplash. The back and forth whiplash right now is what's really, really making me crazy. It's the back and forth from people who are trying so desperately to be your go-to source of information. They are so desperate for ratings and follows and retweets and likes. They'll twist themselves in a million knots to make you happy, to say what you want to hear. Trump is winning. Oh, no, now Democrats are winning. Oh, no, now Trump is winning. Trump had a good week. Oh, bad week for Trump. Now the Democrats are winning. Now the Democrats are on the offensive. No one's winning if the country is losing. Okay? And right now, the country is losing. So no one's winning. No one's winning right now. I want people to listen to this podcast because they trust it. They find it interesting. They find my message balanced and consistent. Consistent. That's very important to me, to remain consistent. I just want to play for you. This is what I said on an episode back in August of 2023. Okay? August of 2023. Do me a favor and just listen to this.
Here comes that bubble popping, that bubble bursting that I was talking about earlier. Trump supporters, a lot of it is up to you. It's up to you. Because I do my best to not overgeneralize, to remind people that you could differ wildly on policy, on personality, on people, and still be a decent person. And I believe that. But the violence, the hatred, the political, whatever you want to call it, what's going on today is one-sided. I know people on the right, I know Trump supporters don't like it when I say it, but it's the truth. But this new thing, where just random, innocent people just trying to do their jobs at school boards, on election boards, parents of kids who've gotten murdered, that's new. That's different. It's not the same. It's out of control. When someone can just go online and say, here's the judge's address, go get her. It's not the same. That's not right. It shouldn't be that way in this country. Trump supporters, if you're not defending that, it's time to step up and say it. It's time to loudly condemn it. Whenever somebody goes online, whenever someone goes on the radio, whenever someone goes on TV and starts putting out random people's information or calling them, I don't know, an enemy to this country, it's time for people to step up and say, no, we're not going to take that. We're not going to do that. Not here, not in this country. If you care about the country, if you truly care about this country, and I believe you do, understand it will not end well for this country. Not it will not end well for one side or the other. No, it will not end well for the country if we don't do something about that. Now, people on the left, your bubble needs to get burst on.
That's from an episode from August, as I said, 2023, entitled, How Does the Trump Era End? And I wanted to leave as much of that in as I possibly could to make it clear that I wasn't mincing words in what I was saying, talking directly to Trump supporters about violence, about intimidation, about attacks on just random innocent people. Are you telling me I now have to substitute out Trump supporters and put in Democrats? I have to say the exact same words, but just substitute out Trump supporters? Or not even substitute out, just say, okay, Trump supporters, here's your message. Democrats, here's your message. They're the exact same message? I got to give both messages to both groups now? Is that what you're telling me? In my wildest dreams, I wouldn't think I'd have to do that. I would think there would be a chorus of high-ranking, influential, unified, collective voices on the left loudly condemning any violence to people or property for political reasons. But instead, Alexandria, the bartender, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, Ocasio-Cortez says this.
I think Democrats are to blame for why people are so triggered by this, because
no, absolutely
when you're at rallies saying, not you particularly, but your colleagues saying F Elon Musk and using other words, to profane words to describe him, does that rile people up, your supporters, to take action on their own?
I don't know. You know, I think about Republicans calling me a communist and Republicans saying that I hate this country. And I certainly have felt the impact of that.
Say what? What the heck was that? Why is it so hard? The woman asked her, the reporter asked her, hey, do you think people are getting riled up? Oh, I certainly hope not. I hope people understand when we talk about fighting back against what's going on with Elon Musk and Donald Trump, we don't mean violence. We don't mean property damage. I certainly hope people understand that. I hope they're not getting riled up in that way. Why is that so hard? What? Is that controversial? Are you going to lose supporters if you say that? Are you going to lose followers if you say that? Will you not get clicks on your YouTube video if you say that? Why is that so hard? You heard the clip I played. I was very clear in my condemnation of the right in allowing hatred and anger to grow into a violent movement within the Republican Party. In my wildest dreams, I wouldn't think I would hear an audience on The Daily Show applauding the burning of Teslas. But I did. In my wildest dreams, I wouldn't think I would hear a Saturday Night Live audience applaud the man who shot and killed, or the mention of the man who shot and killed the United Healthcare CEO. But I did. In my wildest dreams, I would not think for a minute I would hear Tesla owners are having their addresses and personal information posted online. But listen.
Elon Musk's ties to the Trump administration have led to an apparent act of intimidation online as Tesla owners now face an ultimatum sell your car, or find yourself on a blacklist. A website called DogeQuest posted the alleged personal information of Tesla owners across the United States with an interactive map, including an image of a Molotov cocktail as the cursor. DogeQuest claims to, quote, empower creative expressions of protest through exposing the names, addresses, phone numbers, and email addresses of Tesla owners, saying it will only remove the data if they can provide proof they've sold their Teslas. The map also includes Tesla dealership addresses, locations of Tesla superchargers, and the personal information of employees from Musk's Department of Government Efficiency.
Nice, huh? Nice. This is a real thing. I don't care what anybody tells you, whether it works the way it's supposed to work, whether it's taken down, then it's put back up, then it's taken down, then it's put back up. This is a real thing that someone wanted to do and tried to do and did, posting the names, addresses, phone numbers of Tesla owners, of Tesla dealerships. Once again, I think my biggest condemnation of people on the right was over stories of conservative alternative media figures putting out people's names, going after private citizens, election workers, school board members, whoever, giving their names and addresses, and then even in some cases names of their kids. I said it was a disgrace and it was vile. And here we have a website called DogeQuest, or an app, whatever you want to call it, giving the names and addresses of Tesla owners. What is going on? I live my life by certain principles. One key principle I can share with you might help us get through these difficult times. This is something I came up with many years, something I invented to guide me, and I adopted it as my mantra. You can write this down and share it if you like. You can use it. This is my key principle in life I invented. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Profound, right? What do you mean that's been around for thousands of years? I didn't invent it. Could have fooled me. What do you mean? Oh, no, that's the golden rule. You could have fooled me. I thought the golden rule must be what's good for the goose is good for the gander. That seems to be the rule everyone is following right now. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. I know you are, but what am I? That seems to be the rules people are following right now. Not the golden rule, that's for sure. I swear, I wish I had that memory eraser from Men in Black. I could just shine that light and I could just erase parts of people's memory so I didn't have to hear 50 million frickin' times a day, oh yeah, well, what about when so-and-so did such and such? Well, what about, how come the Democrats didn't say anything when so-and-so did such and such? Well, what about when the Republicans said such and such about such and such? I know you are, but what am I? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. What the heck is going on? Is this what makes you a shining star in the Democratic Party right now? I mean, I've been critical of Republicans. I hope you hang in here with me. I hope you don't abandon me. I've been very critical with the Republicans. What do you want me to do? What I'm seeing on the left, what I've been so critical about on the right. You don't expect me to remain consistent? What do I do? Listen to this.
I think you punch. I think you're okay with you okay with punching. It's Ted Cruz. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the head, like, hard, right? Like, there is no niceties with him, like, at all. Like, you go clean off on him, right?
So much for Michelle Obama's when they go low, we go high. Crockett went as low as humanly possible by mocking Governor Greg Abbott for being paralyzed.
We in these hot Texas streets, honey. Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot mess, honey. So,
You know, Richard, I don't know about you, but I want to see way more of Jasmine Crockett. I want to see her everywhere. I think she is the perfect face of the modern Democrat Party. What say you?
I do think that there are a lot of Democrats that really like Jasmine Crockett. But let's be very clear here, and let's acknowledge that the name calling is on both sides of the aisle. Everybody does it. It gins up the base. I mean, I think we can go through Donald Trump's greatest hits of name calling, and we can go blow for blow. And I
can't
think
find one about a guy in a wheelchair.
I mean, I'm sure. I want to say he attacked a mentally challenged reporter once, but we can.
No, that's not true.
Okay, here we go.
Been debunked.
Once again, I think if we were to go to the list of who did more name calling, I think Donald Trump would win that list.
Again,
but
he
either way,
he didn't denigrate somebody in a wheelchair.
Let's talk about the issues.
I mean, that's Jasmine Crockett, of course, that I wanted you to hear. A lot of people probably have heard. That's what gets you a rising star in the Democratic Party right now. But I did want to leave in the last part there. Greg Gutfeld from Fox, from the 5 on Fox, the liberal in the panel, says, hey, listen, Donald Trump calls a lot of names too. Oh, not somebody in a wheelchair. That's the defense. That's the defense to Donald Trump calls people names too. Yeah, but not somebody in a wheelchair. Never somebody in a wheelchair, which, I mean, probably. If you look long and hard enough, you could probably find him insulting somebody in a wheelchair. I have no doubt. But it doesn't make it any better. That's the point. It doesn't. What is this? I know you are, but what am I argument that's going on? It doesn't make any of it any better. What are we doing? What are we doing? What's going on in this fine country of ours? This is crazy, and it's upsetting. And it's depressing, but it's also scary. It's very scary. And I don't know why more people don't seem to be realizing that. We want to have this take down Tesla day. People want to have this take down Tesla day. Okay. I want to know what people are going to say when some good old boys show up with their AR-15s and say, yeah, we're protecting this property. We're here to protect this property. I want to see what happens when they show up, because the one thing that's guaranteed with a planned protest is a planned counter-protest. So what are people going to say then? We've seen that all play out before. Kyle Rittenhouse, when there's a protest and people show up and say, hey, we're just here to make sure no property gets damaged. That's all. What's going to happen when somebody shoots somebody in their driveway because they think they're trying to do something to their Tesla on Tesla Takedown Day? What's going to happen then? Who are you going to blame then? What are you going to say? That Tesla owner overreacted? All they were going to do was a little vandalism? Is that what you're going to say? I mean, this is scary what's going on. What's being allowed to go on. I had an incident a few weeks ago before the time changed. It wasn't late, but it was a little dark out. Around 6 p.m. Somebody came to my door. I didn't know who it was. Before I could see who it was on the camera, they went around to the side of the house because people like to walk around the side of the house to cut through to get to the next house because it's a shorter walk than going all the way back to the sidewalk at the front of the house. But I got cameras up in the trees, so I picked them up in the trees. And on the cameras, I saw who it was. Turned out, it was just a Girl Scout going around knocking on doors selling Girl Scout cookies. So that was fortunate that I saw her, but it was unfortunate. It broke my heart to shoot that little girl in the leg. But I had to send a message. No soliciting means no soliciting. She saw the sign. I didn't kill her. But this is a fork in the road for Democrats. This is a fork in the road. The Republicans took their fork back in 2016. They are on their path. Now it's time for Democrats to go either the path of, hey, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and we're going to go with what makes us happy. Not what's good for the country, but what makes us happy. And what makes us happy is this craziness, is this nonsense. Or they can go the path of do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Now, that second path doesn't require weakness or capitulation. Oh, no, just the opposite. It requires strength. That do unto others path requires strength. Strength to say and do what's right even when it's not popular and could cost you ratings or cost you listeners or even cost you your seat in the House of Representatives. You have to do and say what's right. I tell you, I'm panicking over this episode because I feel so good. I picked up a couple people here and there, picked up a couple listens. And now I'm worried that people are going to go, oh, no, I don't want, this guy's going too hard on the left on this one. There's no counterbalance. My dad's not here to counterbalance me. But I got to say what I think is right. And if it costs me listeners, it costs me listeners. If it costs me a 5-star rating, it costs me a 5-star rating. If I was here for 5-star ratings, I'd be doing this podcast a whole lot different. But I'm not. I'm doing it the way that I think is right. The way that's not going to make me famous because I ain't looking for fame. The way that's not going to make me rich because I ain't looking for riches. I ain't looking for money. I'll take direct deposits. That's how I get paid. I ain't crazy. I will take the money. But it's not my objective. That's not my objective, to make money, to get famous, to get popular. Maybe it helps. Maybe it helps. Maybe if I talk and a couple people hear it and then they talk and then a couple more people hear it and then they talk, maybe it helps. I don't know. It lets me vent. Lets me have some fun. I tried to talk to my wife the other day about this stuff. She clearly does not want to hear it. So I come down and I get on this microphone and it lets me vent. But who knows? Maybe the venting helps. That's why I do it. That's it. Maybe it's helpful. I mean, it's the easiest thing in the world to do. People have got to start asking themselves before they hit retweet, before they hit share, before they say what they want to say, is it helpful? Is this going to be helpful? Is sharing this going to be helpful? Is replying to this in this way going to be helpful? And if not, why the heck are you doing it? Why? If you know it's not going to be helpful, why the heck would you do it? Why would you make things worse? Why would you want to be part of the problem and not part of the solution? I don't understand. There's a fork in the road to be taken here, and it requires strength to take it because you got to invite your enemy in, and you got to talk with your enemy in a respectful way, in a non-confrontational way. Now, listen, I know there are people out there going, yo, you must be out your mind. You must be out your ever-loving mind if you think I'm going to invite a Trump supporter in and talk to a Trump supporter in a respectful way. You screamed at Israel almost the day after the attack to talk to Hamas. I mean, let's be honest. There's a lot of people on the left that said, come on, Israel. Come on, Israel. Ceasefire. You got to get along. You want Israel to get along with Hamas, but you can't get along with a Trump supporter? Seriously? Republicans seriously think Democrats are worse than Russians? I mean, don't get me wrong. I got my problem with some Democrats, particularly some progressives, but worse than Russians? I mean, come on. What are we doing here? You got to have the strength to talk to your enemies. The strength to make a grand compromise when you talk to them. A grand compromise. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm offering. A grand compromise. I'm hearing a whole lot of I told you so. Oh, I told you so. Hearing that a lot lately. I told you so. I warned you, Trump voters. We told you so. That's what I'm hearing a lot from people on the left. We warned you, Trump voters. These Trump voters are having buyer's remorse. Okay. All right, then. That presents an opportunity for us. How about a grand compromise? If Trump voters agree and admit, man, I like the idea of Doge, but I thought it would be more systematic and thought out. I didn't know they were just going to go full bore from day one, just shutting down things. If they admit that, and if they say, you know, I know dear leader Trump said he was going to use tariffs, but I never really believed he would use them in this way. It's going to wreck the economy. If they admit that, if they say, you know, I like the idea of deporting gang members and criminals, but I do need somebody to chop these onions. If they admit that, amongst some other things, that's the compromise from MAGA. Now, to strike this grand bargain, the compromise from the left, I warned you. I told you that doggone Joe Biden was too old. I told you that. I spent 2 years telling you that, and you kept saying, you're an idiot. Age equals experience. Age equals experience. I told you that man couldn't do a second term, and now you know who says Joe Biden couldn't do a second term? Joe Biden. Joe Biden says he wouldn't have lasted a second term. I told you that. I warned you there was the center of the country. I told you that. I said, if you keep on making policy, if you keep on talking to the left, if you keep on pushing left, you're going to lose the center. I told you that. Oh, no, there is no center. There is no center. I played you the clip of the guy. Oh, there is no center. People claim they're in the center. People claim they're independent, but everybody leans. Everybody leans left. Everybody leans right. That's what he said. You're a moron if you think there's a center. And now, what is everybody saying on the Democratic side? We got to get back to the center. We got to get back to the center. I told you. I warned you. I warned you inflation is going to cost you the election, Democrats. I warned you. It ain't corporate greed. Corporate greed is the byproduct, not the cause. You got to deal with the cause. Monetary policy, expansionary spending in a time of a strong economy. You can't do that. You have to practice contractionary spending. I warned you. And now every single economist and their cousin are going, yeah, inflation was due to monetary policy. It's probably a bad idea to spend trillions and create demand when there is no supply because of a war and a pandemic. Go figure. Learn something new every day, don't you? I told you. I spent 2 years saying that. So that's the grand bargain. That's the grand compromise. Let's call it the I told you so accords. Let's write this up. Somebody out there in the audience, get out a pen and piece of paper and please write down the I told you so accords. Send it to me. Send it to me on Spotify. Send it to me on YouTube. Send me any of your I told you so's, and we will add them to the I told you so accords. But just keep in mind, for as many I told you so's on the left you can send me, there are as many I told you so's on the right that they can send you. We've been warned. We've been warned about what's going to happen if the Democratic Party lurches too far left. We've been warned about what's going to happen if Donald Trump gets back into the White House. We've been warned. I told you so's are on both sides. We need a compromise. We need to admit it to ourselves. We need the I told you so accords. But I know exactly what you're going to ask me. I know exactly what you're going to ask me. You're going to say, comparison guy, how come nobody has ever invented a treadmill for the shower? I don't know. I'm working on it. Nobody steal that idea. Makes sense to me. You want to start working out, but you're just having a tough time getting out of bed and getting going. Well, you got to get up and get in the shower. So you make a treadmill, you fit it in there. Listen. Oh, that's not what you wanted to ask me? You wanted to ask me who admits they were wrong first. Oh, okay. In order to have the I told you so accords, in order to have this grand compromise, we have to ask, who wants to admit they were wrong first? That's easy. Whoever's strongest. Weak people never admit they make mistakes. Ooh, that was good. That was good. I'm happy with that episode, I think. I'm going to keep it short. Gonna keep it short this time. I appreciate you listening. I surely do. I appreciate you following. Appreciate you rating. Appreciate you sharing. I just think people should make sense. Focus on making sense, not so much on making money. Does that make me crazy? 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 Possibly. Thanks for listening. The Comparison Guy podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Stay tuned. I've been requested to do an episode talking about the New Jersey governor's race. I will do that. I don't typically take requests, but I'm flattered that someone would want my opinion on the New Jersey governor's race. So I will give some information on that. Maybe next episode. Stay tuned. And I shall see you next time.